Hey, Forrest here. Nothing like getting paid. And with ICCU's mobile app, I can deposit checks or accept Zelle payments so the money hits my account fast. I just wish there was an app for mowing the rest of these lawns.
Right now, Lithia Ford of Boise is buying used vehicles. How much you want for the SUV?
I don't know.
Well, Lithia Ford will give you more than that.
How much more?
More than you think.
I'm not thinking anything.
I'm thinking you might get even more than that. See how much more you can get at Lithia Ford of Boise.
When it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. RowPaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
It's time for the Lithia Ford of Boise post-game show from Bronco Nation News. We're breaking down the game with highlights, interviews, analysis, and most importantly, you. Give your thoughts on the game in the YouTube chat or Facebook comments, and we'll include the best ones on the show. Check out LithiaFordBoise.com to view their full inventory of vehicles, or check them out at 8853 West Fairview in Boise. Now let's head out and join BJ Rains for the Lithia Ford of Boise post-game show from Bronco Nation News.
Well, how's it going, Boise State fans? We are here at the James Kitchen and Bar. We're in Broadway, downtown Boise area, right across the street from the stadium. Kent Riddle wasn't sure when he would put the headset back on again after finishing last season, and he's got it back on here for us for the post-game show. Kent, appreciate you as always, giving up. You're like a very popular man upstairs, and you're willing to come down and talk with us and make them wait. We appreciate that.
Hey, anything to help promote the Broncos?
Well, we hopefully folks can hear us okay. Let us know. Our technicians are still en route. We wanted to get this thing rolling a little bit early tonight, so let us know if everything sounds good. We'll have some highlights. We'll have some interviews, a ton to get to. 31-28, Boise State falls, Kent, in this one to BYU, and man, what a game from the halftime stand and the final play of the second quarter to the final play with a minute to go. I mean, this was about what most of these BYU Boise State games have been, a classic game that came down to the end.
Yeah, it's always a tough game with those guys. Whether it is a rivalry, isn't a rivalry, I mean, I would tell you this, every time I was in the locker room, we thought of it as a rivalry. But, man, so many close games, so many come down to the end. And again, it came down to that, and was an exciting deal. Bummed to see the outcome of it, but I know the Broncos bounced back, and I think for the Broncos, like the positive side of this, really this game's about bragging rights at this point.
Yeah.
It really doesn't affect anything.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the Mountain West Conference Championship's still available, and I would fully expect them to be able to host the Mountain West Conference Championship game. And come out of it.
But I know it didn't mean anything from that standpoint, but you did have BYU, taking a team picture on your field. It's the final matchup, for a while in the series. I mean,
I missed that.
Okay.
I didn't see them do that.
They took the big team photo with the scoreboard in the background, and then had some smaller group photos, which I said more power to them. You won the last game of the series. You won the road game. I'm not saying it's starting some controversy. I'm just saying it obviously meant something to them to win the final matchup here, and that part of it does stink that you don't know when you're playing them again, and Boise State does fall in a tough way like this, right?
Yeah, and I would hope that somehow, some way, they figure a way to get that back on the schedule. But that part's a bummer. But I guess at this point, all I could say is, as a coach, you'd be saying hey, let's control what we can control, and we still have a chance to win the Mountain West Conference Championship.
Yeah, we've already, the very first comment, Kent, the very first comment on the post-game show is someone saying they hope Spencer Danielson leaves because they didn't like the defensive play calling tonight. Jesse Bywater, hope Coach Danielson gets poached by a Power 5 school. Think Coach Miley would do a better job calling plays for us. Holy cow.
there's frustration because we lost, and there's always that sort of thing. But man, I don't know about the calls being. I mean, the execution apparently wasn't good on something here or there, but the calls being bad, I don't know about that. I just thought I thought they competed, man. I thought every opportunity they had to make a play, they did. You know, you brought up the end of the half. Like, that was huge to keep those guys out of the end zone.
Yeah.
We came out with all sorts of momentum and really captured it.
Yeah.
And jumped on it. And we scored at the start. So, yeah, I think that's calling for people to leave makes a little much.
Mike says really surprised by the defensive game plan. Very few blitzes and pressures. When we did get to him, not nearly as effective. Just let the QB sit in the pocket. Odd game plan. They
actually did blitz a fair amount.
Okay.
Get there, yeah. I mean, that's a whole different deal. But
sure,
yeah, I thought they brought pressure, more than occasionally.
Yeah. Now, this was, I think going into the game, a lot of people said this would be one of the tougher tests that the defense had faced all season. I mean, they were number one in passing defense, but I think 4 of their opponents ranked like outside the top 115 in passing offense. So they faced a better challenge today. And, BYU's obviously moved the ball through the air. Jaron Hall, 377 passing yards, 29 of 42, 3 touchdowns, did have the 2 interceptions. But back and forth game, I mean, just – that third and fourth quarter when every team would score and back and forth, and BYU was just able to make one more kind of late play. We're going to show the highlights here in a few minutes when Colin gets here. I'm not 100% convinced that was a touchdown. I thought by the time that he had possession of the ball that his foot was already in the air, but then they score and go up, and then that Boise State has the chance. The holding call hurts them there, and you're at 3rd and 20. You get it to 4th and 8, and then the pass falls incomplete, and that's all she wrote. But Puka Nacua, by the way, 14 catches, 157 yards, 2 touchdowns, number 12, I think. He's been in and out of the lineup a little bit with injuries. He had a heck of a game tonight.
He really did. That guy's a heck of a player. Old Boise State guy, Junior Adams.
Yep.
Coached him his first couple of years at UW. So I know if June loved him and recruited him, that guy's a heck of a player. And he obviously has family connections to BYU. His relative.
Yep.
I'm not sure if brother, cousin, whatever, but made life miserable for us for a few years. And that guy's a heck of a player.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason, like, I think he was, at the end of the day, out of high school, choosing between UW and Oregon and USC and some of those schools.
Oh, yeah.
And for him to end up at BYU, obviously a huge deal. So, I mean, you're talking about a guy that's a hell of a player. And he showed up and made big plays. And they did a great job protecting their quarterback tonight. He made some big plays throwing the ball. I thought he kept some plays alive, moving around in the pocket. And you're right. That was going to be the best test.
Biggest offensive line as well, I believe.
Yeah, but I think the other side of it, like some of these teams we've been playing, maybe not operating at peak efficiency, and,
sure,
and maybe not with great players, and and all of a sudden you jump up and you're trying to react to that a little bit, and you're trying to figure out, hey, how do we get better? Well, you have to play a team like that to get better.
And Kay Foster here says probably the least angry I've been after a game because in the end, I know there were some New Year's Six, faint New Year's Six hopes alive still, but in the end, now you can focus on back to Mountain West play. 3 games to go. You try to win the Mountain West. I think if you said when you were 2-2, you'd if you could still run the table in league play and host the championship and go play in the LA Bowl against a Pac-12 team, I still think that'd be obviously a successful year at this point.
Absolutely, and I think there's a better chance of that happening than not happening. So I'm excited for those guys to take what they can learn from this game, move on, and I fully expecting to bounce back next week in Nevada and be full strength and get after it, and then go up for a really tough road game at Wyoming.
Yep.
But if they win that one, I'm pretty sure even the last game wouldn't even matter.
Yeah.
But I think they'll be fine in whatever's left.
Someone says we're 0 for 1 when doing the pregame show out front of the James. So maybe that was the we tried to mix it up a little bit and it didn't go too well. But couldn't tell you that. Jesse says glad to at least have a Cutwater mango margarita to help cope with that one. So thanks to our sponsor Cutwater Canned Cocktails. We are in the mobile canned Cutwater studios. Really nice crowd upstairs, by the way, and some dignitaries as usual. The James is popping tonight.
Oh yeah. For all the old Boise State fans, I think we got some former players, NFL guys, former staff, NFL type guys.
Yeah, John Schneider, the GM of the Seahawks, is here again. Never know who you'll see here at the James. Defensive tackling was terrible. Somebody said, "Oh my, that Alabama finish." So I didn't see the end of the game there. The number one goal is still in front of us. Someone not liking the going with the all black uniforms tonight, saying that was the problem. Coaches.
Well, I would say this: we have the best all black uniforms, and whenever we want to break them out, great. Obviously, the blue on blue is our deal, but I would never say like breaking the black uniforms out costs us anything.
After a game, you got to find something. Alabama, I guess, lost on a last play or something happened in the Alabama game, so they go down. We'll try to get there. We'll have some footage here, but obviously in a second. But obviously, Kent, low-scoring game in the first half, 7-7. What'd you make of BYU coming right down the field, scoring on the opening drive? Boise State's defense obviously locked up, got a couple key interceptions there near the goal line. Rodney Robinson on a tip pass. J.L. Skinner had one as well. And then I guess let's go to first. 23 seconds left. You get the interception, I believe, or a fumble or something. Boise State has the ball with 23 seconds left and 2 timeouts. I think that was the tipped Rodney Robinson pick. They elected to Kent getting some shout-outs here from the crowd. 23 seconds left. Boise State has the ball and 2 timeouts, backed up at like their own 20 or whatever it was after the Rodney Robinson pick. They elect to try to move down the field instead of kneeling it, and Talon Green loses the ball and gets stripped, fumbles the ball. We'll get to the final play in a second, but as a coach there, 23 seconds, I think 2 timeouts. What's kind of the thinking, not just kneel it, go to half 7-7. They wanted to try to at least get into field goal range there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when you got a guy like Talon, you're thinking, hey.
And a kicker like Jonah, I guess.
Yeah, like we can make this happen. I would say, you can point out that it didn't work out.
Yeah.
But on the other side, they got no points out of it. So
somehow.
Right. So we could make a big deal out of this, but at the end of the day, they got.
How many plays can you get off in 23 seconds if you need 40 yards or whatever it was to get into realistic field goal range?
Well, I think we had 2 timeouts left, so
yep.
I think conservatively get 3 plays off.
Okay.
You could probably get 4 and take a timeout with 1 second.
Okay.
I think BYU, even after it, ran 3 and then timeout with 1 second left and ran the 4.
Well, they didn't have as far to go either, but
hey, you're always trying to score.
Yeah. So what'd you make then of fourth down? Or not, it was just, I don't know if it was fourth down, but they were at the 1 yard line with 1 second left. They elect to go for it there. They could have taken the easy field goal to take the lead. They obviously elect to go for it there, try to punch it in. I guess the decision there, what do you make of that? And then obviously that was a very controversial play.
Well, I think for them it's a no-brainer.
Okay.
Because you got 3 likely scenarios, right? You kick a field goal. Whether you make it or miss it, doesn't matter. That's a win for Boise State, right?
Okay.
Like they stopped them. You go for it, you don't make it, you lose momentum, or you score and you gain momentum. So there's 1 out of 3 they kind of do that.
Okay.
And I thought Boise State won that.
Got momentum going into halftime.
like came out of halftime, came out of the locker room, scored, and man, I thought we had all the momentum in the world.
Yeah.
Credit to BYU because they fought through that, and that's a big deal. I literally, I thought, okay, we got them. Stopping them going into halftime, scoring, coming out of half. I was like,
yeah, that was a
this
huge
game's
swing.
gonna be over.
And so and you had the, he falls down, and we're loading the clip in here, but he falls down. No one's sure what the call is. They finally say he's short, so you have the players celebrating. And then that was about as dramatic as it gets, as everyone's on the field waiting for the referee, and he just says the play stands, and the Boise State players run off, and BYU was, hands up, couldn't believe it. And then, like you said, not only that, you come out with the ball, and Dirk Cutter obviously had a nice script written up at halftime and comes out in the third quarter. They go right down the field, 75 yards or whatever, and score. And, yeah, it all of a sudden maybe you're down 14-7, and instead you're up 14-7. That was a huge swing.
No, like you said, I mean, I thought that was almost insurmountable for BYU. But to their credit, they bounced back because, that's the thing you're always trying to teach a team. Like, hey, you're never out of it. We can always battle. We can always figure it out. And they did. Boise State, I think some tough breaks here and there. Whether it was calls, spots, play just didn't kind of go well enough, whatever it was. But, I really thought, kind of things lined up for Boise State.
Yeah.
And BYU, to their credit, didn't quit.
Yeah.
And, hey, look, they've been on hard times the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, 4 in a row.
But prior to that, they were a top 10, 15 team.
Had beaten Baylor, who was top 10 or something.
I think Baylor beat
Oklahoma today.
Oklahoma
I think
today.
So,
you're – and I would love to tell you I follow this close enough, but I don't. I don't know. I mean, did they have guys coming back from injury?
They were without some key guys tonight again, but I mean, I think this was the classic case of they're better. They played a pretty tough schedule. They're not a typical 4-5 team coming in here. I think, and I think Boise State knew that. Everybody knew that, and I think the spread was only a touchdown. Everybody expected it to be a close game. Blue Elva's pointing out 2 interceptions for the defense, but the offense turned that into 0 points. So couldn't take advantage of the turnovers and score any points.
That's a huge deal. I mean, when you get turnovers, you gotta score. I mean, you have to at least get 3 points out of it.
Yeah.
So I think those are things that they'll be working on in the future. Like, hey, we get a sudden change, we got to figure out how we're going to at least get 3 points out of that.
A lot of unhappy folks tonight, Kent. BYU absolutely embarrassing the elite defense. Lucky the Mountain West is so awful this year. They made a 5-5 quarterback look like an All-American. Is what the defense looked out of position all night. Eye control. This guy would have liked to have K. Foster more blitzing. Defense was on the field a ton. That first half, the time of possession was like 22, almost 23 minutes to 7 minutes. The yards were insane in the first half. I mean, it was amazing. It was a tie game. It was 236 for BYU to 79 for Boise State, and it was 16 first downs for BYU, 3 first downs for Boise State, and all the other stats are the same way. It was a pretty one-sided first half, and you're lucky to only be down 7, or be tied 7-7 at the half.
Yeah, but I haven't looked at it. What the time of possession end up at the end of the game?
You're thinking it evened out a little bit?
I'm just guessing it did, but
it was 36 for BYU, 24 for Boise State.
Yeah, so
36-24. So the second half was much closer to even, if not in Boise State's favor. Yeah,
and as always, third downs are such a huge deal, and BYU did I thought a really good job on third down.
Yeah,
I thought the biggest thing they did was protect the quarterback. He had time to sit back there and kind of make some reads, make some throws, and they threw some stuff. I was like, I wouldn't have thrown that, but they converted it.
What Brent's pointing out how loud it was, and that you were obviously in the stands tonight. Yep. So what'd you make of the atmosphere?
Well, I thought the atmosphere was great. I mean, again, we forced them into I think 3 or 4 off
false starts.
procedures.
Yeah, there were a couple, not
yeah.
a ton, but yeah, there were a couple.
But again, the south end zone, you get down there. I think 2 of them were coming out, and maybe 2 of them were going in.
Yeah,
and huge factor.
Let's see here. Boys, let's see. Loss. Going to put the chip on the shoulder moving forward for the next 3 games. Control what you can.
Absolutely.
Keep your goal in focus. If that 4th down is not allowed a touchdown, we're talking about how the defense made big plays when they needed to. So it is interesting how 1 touchdown there maybe changes the complexion of what you're saying about the defense. They did give up 532 yards
whether
though, for
that
BYU.
was at the end of the day, it was a catch. You'd argue had they said it wasn't a catch and review and all that stuff. But I mean, yeah, I thought the defense performed awesome, and I like those guys. They compete; they're never out of it. And I would say that about the whole team. Even the offense at the end. I mean, they get to 3rd and 25 or whatever it is, and they hit a big play and get up. Get to 4th and manageable, and hey, God, I mean, if I was coaching, I'd be wrecked and miserable and all that. But at the end of the day, it just didn't go their way tonight.
A lot of guys saying the officiating was pretty bad tonight. I mean, there were some questionable calls on both sides, I guess. There was one clear PI that it looked like they didn't call on BYU. There was some other calls both ways, but I thought it kind of evened out.
Yeah, I guess I didn't from the stands.
Yeah.
I thought like the PI call they called on Boise State, they gave BYU. I'm like, from the stands.
Yeah,
I thought, it's probably something.
That's what I thought too. Yeah, there was one at the other end they didn't call. But again, I think Boise State got a nice break when they did not rule that play. As we're going to see here in about 20 seconds, it looks like he falls right on the line with the ball. And the fact that they said he was short, and then you can say what you want about the play. And in both instances.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, to me, maybe I had guys texting me that I trust and I think, kind of know football.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
I don't think I
that
texted
maybe
you, but,
wasn't maybe that wasn't a touchdown at the end, but the one at halftime probably was.
But it came down to both of them. Whatever the original call was, it's hard to get a call overturned.
Yeah.
If it's that close, the call is going to stand moving forward. But we got, I wouldn't really put the officiating on too much on it. I thought when it came down to it, it was, there were some calls both ways, and we do have the full highlights, Kent, that we can.
I thought honestly, the biggest plays BYU were, they hit a couple plays. I mean, everybody's talking about we weren't getting after the quarterback, and I think they thought we were, and hit a couple screen plays. And that was kind of it. And ironically, the screenplays, I mean, if you go back to like 2015, 16, somewhere in there, with the screenplays of BYU's just done a great job with that.
They called some perfect ones when Boise State was blitzing. Let's take a look at the highlights here in Kent. Talk about the game here, some of the highlights. Boise State coming out, a big crowd. It wasn't quite, I don't know if they announced the sellout or not. It was over the capacity, but really impressive opening drive for BYU. Hall on the 3-yard rush there. That capped a nice 12-play, 75-yard, 6-minute drive to start the game. Defense, though, Kent, after that first drive, did make some adjustments, was able to do some things and get back on track.
The first drive, like BYU just made some really good plays.
Talon Green tonight made some nice throws on the run. He continues to show us things. The passing, 220 yards. He was 17 of 23. He hits Latrell Caples there for a 16-yard touchdown pass. Again, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 220 yards passing, 17 of 23 for Talon Green. There's one of the picks there, J.L. Skinner. That was a huge pick for Boise State. J.L. Skinner getting that pick. Turning the tide there, keeping BYU, who had been moving the ball, from getting any points. But Boise State, again, unable to turn the interception to any point. So BYU gets the ball back. They're moving the ball through the air again. And then late in the half, they make that throw. It's tipped. Tip drill. Rodney Robinson with the nice play
Tip
there.
balls or pick balls?
Yep, get the interception there. Now, again, 23 seconds left at this point. You're thinking, okay, 7-7 at the half. Everything's fine. Boise State fumbles it, and then you have the play here where they come and the guy falls, right on the line. You can see the play right there. We're going to have another angle of that here on the extended post game. But it was very interesting because there's nobody making a call, nobody knows, and then they come in and spot the ball, and Boise State players run off in celebration there.
Yeah, huge. I mean, at the end of the day, just a huge stop by Boise State. And so you go into the locker room with momentum.
Yep.
And
they came out and took advantage of that in the third quarter.
Exactly. And Taylor made some unbelievable throws. I mean, some of those touch throws, getting it over the first level.
Yep.
Eric
McAllister, again, by the way, continues to step up, kept his foot in there. He continues to show, and that's his first career touchdown after making a couple nice long catches. And at that point, you're thinking, okay, Boise State goes up, everything's looking good. But BYU pretty much had an answer every time Boise State did something.
Again, they're a competitive football team. Coach Sataki, I think just does
I got friends bringing me drinks here, Kent. We appreciate the Matthews, Kyle and Jamie, for dropping off drinks. We appreciate that. Need plenty after this one, but
I mean, to me, I'll just say this: as a fan, hell of a football game, really competitive game against two really good teams, and
that was that screenplay, by the way, you were talking about. They were able to really move the ball, and that screenplay got a lot.
Riley there,
yep. Yeah. And Boise State again, they kept answering, kept having responses. They're moving the ball down the field.
I thought really. The issue, they scored so fast.
Yep.
That BYU didn't have to be in hurry-up mode.
Yeah.
I thought that was, at the end of the day, unfortunate. It's not good or bad.
It looked like George Talani originally scored. They said no somehow, and then he scores again for the 1-yard score. At that point, that puts Boise State up 21-17. But BYU answered right back. Only needed a minute and 29 seconds. 4 plays, 64 yards. They come down, and they're going to take the lead again, 24-21 on the 48-yard touchdown pass. That was one of the screens to Ropati that went for the touchdown.
Yeah, they've just done a really good job of that over the years, knowing when to call the screens, and a great job of executing them. And that's one of the things, years ago, we tried to go back and look at them and see, okay, how are they getting these done?
Well, so Boise State comes
in the 2020 COVID year.
Yeah.
Hey, look, they beat the crap out of us.
Yep.
But that was wow.
So Boise State comes back on the next drive. It was the 11-yard Helani touchdown run right here. But on the drive, Taylon Green was 2 of 2 for 41 yards and had a 13-yard run. 2 straight drives there when it was going back and forth. Taylon Green was 7 of 7, 93 yards. And he really, stepped up when he needed to. So at this point, Boise State's up 28-24 with 6:28 left in the game. You're feeling pretty good, but the defense just really couldn't get a stop. BYU continued to march down the field here. The clock was starting to tick down. You knew once they got down there inside the 15 that this is going to be one of the final possessions because they were in no hurry at that point to run the ball. And then on that 4th down play, I guess he ran it on 3rd down, so it brought up a 4th down play from about the 6-yard line, I believe.
Which I'll say this, I thought the 3rd down play by Boise State was awesome because they were they were playing coverage outside, and so they were limited inside with help, and the guys did a great job getting off blocks and making a play and forcing them into that 4th down situation. And I mean, you got to tip your hat. That's a hell of a throw, hell of a catch.
Yep.
I don't even know what to tell you how to stop that.
Yeah, and again, we're going to try to get a better angle of that. It was so close when he actually had control, whether or not the foot was in the air. But as it usually is, Kent, that the call on the field, it's got to be obvious for them to overturn it.
And if I was on the field, hell, I'd probably, look like catch.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to. I think you reward great plays.
Yep.
and I'm an offensive guy, so I'll say that.
Yeah.
So if a guy makes a great play, I'm gonna be. But if that was the same thing for an interception, I'd be like, sure, interception. I think you have to reward that stuff.
We got 34 comments rolling in. Let's try to see if we got any good ones here. Not much penetration from the D-line tonight. That was the difference. Did you think the D-line got enough pressure?
I thought they did a good job. I mean,
we talked about it at the beginning a little bit. Yeah.
I think BYU, they got an older, more experienced, bigger offensive line. So was there going to be less? Yeah, probably. But I thought the D-line did a good job, especially in the run game.
What do you need here?
I'm looking right here, but
the rushing game, they had 155 net yards on 32 carries.
Yeah.
4.8 a carry.
But I think most of that ended up coming like on the outside. And, I thought the defensive line did a nice job.
Let's see.
I would tell you this.
Yeah.
I mean, the flip side, like Boise's BYU, it's not like they scored 50 points.
Yeah.
I mean,
and they had 7 at halftime. I mean, it took them scoring, 4? Was it 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter? Maybe, I guess it was. It was 2 in the fourth quarter. They scored the one with 25 seconds left in the third quarter. But you gave up 21 points in the final 15-25 of the game.
Yeah. I'd like to give some credit to BYU.
Yeah.
I thought, could Boise State play better? Yeah, I'm sure if you go over there and ask those guys, there's something they could have done better. But, man, I mean, you look at that play right now that you got on. I mean, that's a hell of a play. Like,
yeah,
hats off.
Perfectly thrown ball. And even Caleb Biggers was celebrating because he didn't think it was he thought, he didn't think he was in bounds because it was such a great play. He kind of turned in the other direction. But Colin, if we can get the other clip of the the play at halftime, the play on the final play of the second quarter, I wanted to go back to that if we could in a minute here. But let's see what we got here. Tried to find a spot of the James, but it was too busy. At least got to make eye contact with Coach Riddle. So you made eye contact with somebody. You made
come back. I'll buy you a beer.
Oh, there you go. You made Coulter's night. Come on back, and he'll buy you a beer. I bought you 2, so we're you got one. You can buy him then, and we'll call it even. Young QB is improving. Send it again, maybe if you already did. Have fun getting crushed in the Big 12. I guess they're saying towards BYU. Nate thought that play was in. By the way, how about my Jayhawks getting bowl eligible today? 6-6.
That was a huge win.
6-6. I'm toasting to that tonight as I'm toasting to my Jayhawks going bowling tonight. Tore down the goalposts. By the way, you would be like an amazing third wheel at this place because you just know everybody. So if anybody wanted to come meet people or whatever, I mean, this guy, every single person that walks, everybody. Well, I'm here. That's why I like to hang out afterwards. I mean, you literally know everybody that walks in the door here. But let's see. Someone's wanting me to ban a guy that's being too negative. Let's see here. Biggest win since Jim McMahon left. Let's see. They're talking about Danielson, 15, and that I don't know how to say his last name. Is it Puka Nacua?
Nacua, yeah.
We talked about him earlier, but 14 catches, 157 yards. He had 66 yards after contact. He obviously had a great.
The guy's a big time player.
Yep.
And trust me, like I know they were trying to stop it.
Yep.
So credit to BYU for figuring out how can we get this guy open.
Let's play that play again here. This was the play at halftime, Kent. Right before halftime, you can see to the right of the referee, the running back falls down. BYU thinks he's clearly in. I mean, I know we don't have the technology with no chip in the ball or whatever, but it is kind of crazy that you've got two guys. Huh? Oh, Matt, see, you got NFL players in the house, man. You got a starting NFL center just walking up the steps right now. I mean, you never know who you're going to see here. But what do you make of, again, the original call is probably going to stand in that situation. There wasn't a perfect camera. There's bodies everywhere. But that was a pretty pretty big stand at the time for Boise State's defense, and it's hard to tell if it went in or not. I know you said you had some people that were telling you one way or the other, but
it was not in because they said it was not in, and
it sure looks like he falls there onto the line.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, look, so which 7 points you want to trade?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, all that, like, but that's a huge deal and huge momentum. And I thought Boise State did a great job. The offense came out and captured that momentum. And
what's that? Yeah, we'll take a fan question here. You can use.
But they, yeah, that was a huge play. I mean, you literally have a chance to go into halftime either giving up 7 points or stopping a guy at the 1 yard line. Like, think about how big a deal that is at halftime. They rolled in there.
Let's see what he has here. They're telling me he has to go. Give us your quick thoughts, man.
I just want to know where you guys think that Hank Bachmeier will transfer to.
That's a good question. Hank Bachmeier, Kent. So
I have no idea, but Hank will have opportunities.
California school, what?
No, I think he'll have Hank will have plenty of opportunities.
Well, we'll talk about it, man.
I have no idea.
Your friends are trying to get you to go, man.
I couldn't even guess where, but he'll have opportunities all over the country.
Always appreciate the fan questions. You never know what their fan.
Yeah.
His friends were grabbing him before he started talking, so I was a little worried there. Abe Jackson in the house, the 3-point sharpshooter for Boise State. Everybody's stopping by tonight. We got some post-game interviews that we're going to get to in just a second. Let's see who we got here first. Let's see here. Colin, you sending over Avalos or some players here? Okay. We'll get to what'd you say?
Skillen taking off.
This is kind of a who's who here at the James, man. Yeah. This is the place to be. You got the Wow 104.3 Country's top DJ Kyle Matthews. I mean, you got everybody in there. Everybody's hanging out here.
That's all you need.
Yes,
right?
it is. You never know when we got Jake Forsyth in the house, one of my good buddies here. I mean, you never know. Big Cardinals fan. We golfed with Jake one time. I don't know if you're a Cardinals fan. He had the fireball shots and everything. Jake's
lots of birdies.
Anytime you play with Jake, if you birdie, you got to take a shot of fireball. So when your tee time is like 7:15,
I had no birdies, none.
When your tee time 7:15, you're a little worried. You're hoping nobody birdies till hole 4. Or something, but I guess the Astros win the World Series. Your thoughts there, Kent?
Gosh.
Good for them, right?
Yeah, yes.
Congratulations.
I don't know. I mean, what? Hopefully this one's clean.
There you go. Nicholas Bowman wanting. We've the last 3 games we really haven't seen Talon run as much. And I know the passing has obviously been working, but Nick is wondering why they wouldn't use him to maybe get him on the outside and have Talon run a little bit. But again, there's 1 minute and 30 seconds left at that point.
Well, at that point, yes. And if he would have pulled it down and run if the opportunity was there. But I think the throw was there and the call kind of dictated that. But he's going to run when they'll let him run.
Yeah.
Like, Dirk's one of the smartest offensive coaches ever, probably. And if the run's not there, like, they're not going to just get Talon beat up to do that.
Yeah. So. Somebody, by the way, was mentioning Golly Guy. We actually got to talk to Golly Guy tonight.
Yes, we did.
He was here. He couldn't stay. He didn't think his shtick would work as well after a loss tonight, but he did give a couple gollies while we were talking to him and said, golly, that was a tough loss. Always good seeing.
We'd always love to have him.
They're talking about maybe him going to Fresno State. We'll see. You got more fans here?
Yep.
You got fans here. Your lovely wife is here. What's the status, Colin, on 3 more minutes, and we can get Andy Avalos on here. We'll hear Andy Avalos' comments. Players? Okay, that's fine. Well, we'll get something here in just a couple of minutes. Colin is sending us over the stats, or the videos, but you look at the stats, 532 yards for BYU. I mean, I don't want to say where did this game go wrong, Kent, but I mean, for you, it was just, obviously not making the final play late. But yeah, I mean, is there anything specifically you can point to as to why Boise State came on the losing end here?
Ironically, like we had the turnovers. We caused them in the red zone. We stopped them in the red zone. I'm not sure what Boise State's numbers were in the red zone.
Where's red zone down here? Boise State was 4 of 4, and they've actually scored on like 35 straight trips to the red zone. They've gotten some points.
So like to me, all the things would tell you like they should win because we came out ahead in turnovers, better in the red zone, better in short yardage. It wasn't just the play at the goal line there before half, but they stopped them on 4th and 1. I'm trying to think.
They stopped them stopped them at 4th and 1 once down there in the inside the 10, and then they had them stopped again. But then they called a false start, I guess it was, or something, or the timeout, I guess, and then they decided to kick the field goal. Yep. But there was 2 times they were going to go for it down there at the inside the 5-yard line, I guess it was.
So all that stuff, like Boise State came ahead.
Yep.
At the end of the day, I mean, BYU made a couple plays.
Yeah.
And I really, just off the stat sheet,
yeah,
I tell you,
yep,
like, oh my God, this is where the game was lost.
Yeah. By the way,
credit to BYU. I mean, they had their backs against the wall. They got those. They did a nice job convincing those guys to, hey, this is what we got to play for, and we got a chance to still make something special this season. And probably got some guys healthy, and I think all that stuff helped.
Before I forget, let's go ahead and give away the bike. We had the nice Bud Light Seltzer cruiser bike. We were taking stuff on the pregame show, trying to get some new YouTube subscribers. So we had a nice dose of folks here. Dig on in there, try to find us one that's somewhere down there. And who we got for our winner of the nice Bud Light Seltzer? It's
Karen Rain.
Yeah, no, it's Cameron Riddle. Yeah. We actually have a couple that we probably forgot. There might be some other ones that are empty in there that we forgot to take out. But let's see who the winner is. Let's pick somebody with a name. Who do we got here? Looks like
Danny Oversby.
Okay, Danny Oversby. We had Dan last time. We were arguing whether it was Dan
I think
or Danny.
That's Danny.
And that is Danny. That's female handwriting. So Danny Oversby wins the bike. You can see it right there. No, I guess you can't see it. But Danny wins. We'll keep that. Congratulations to Danny on winning the Bud Light Seltzer Cruiser bike. We'll be reaching out to you. And let's see. We're going to play one player, and then we'll get out of here, Kent. But it's airdropping in now from Colin. We're going to have the full Andy Avalos, all the players, up on our YouTube channel. So you can go to youtube.com/Bronco Nation News. You can hear the full post game from Andy Avalos and the players. While we're waiting for this to load, Ken, as you kind of spin this forward, 3 games left, all Mountain West games now. Your goal's still in front of you. 2 on the road, obviously, and then the Black Friday 10 a.m. game. But, not a super hard stretch, but 2 road games. And, road game in the Mountain West is never something you can take for granted, I guess, or just assume as a win. But 3 games left and still a chance to go 9-3 in the regular season here.
Absolutely. And I would kind of expect them to do that at this point. Those guys, I mean, this BYU is probably the toughest opponent they've played in a while.
Yeah.
Probably the toughest opponent they will play. So I'm excited for those guys to compete against Nevada, Wyoming, Utah State, and take what they've learned against this and really understand, like, hey, this is where you need to be every week, like this kind of effort. And you know what? Sometimes it's not going to work out for you, but if you play like this, most of the time it will.
Well, we'll put the we're having trouble getting the video in here. We'll go ahead and put it in the YouTube. So go to our YouTube channel. We'll have Coach Avalos, the players on there. You can watch their full post-game press conferences there after the game. Final thoughts, Ken, as we wrap this up. Obviously a tough one, but you're kind of not – you don't seem overly down about this one. I'm sure the coaches in the building are obviously ticked off right now, but when you look at the bigger picture, the New Year's Six probably was still going to be a long shot at this point. You still got a chance with the championship game to get to 10 wins, before a bowl game. Still have a chance to go to the LA Bowl, host the championship here. I know it sucks, obviously, to lose to BYU, have them take a picture on your field. But what are your final thoughts, I guess, from this one?
Yeah. I didn't know about the picture on the field.
Does that change your opinion on things? That does seem to fire you up a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
There's some of the position guys taking one in front, and then you had the full team as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure for them why that's such a big deal. But whatever. I mean, we'll get a chance to play them again. I don't know when that is
Yep.
But that'll be remembered.
I say go for it. You won on the blue in the final meeting. I didn't have a problem with it.
No, I don't have a problem with it at all. I think it's just motivation the next time it comes around. And maybe they're like, okay, well, it's not going to come around for a while. So,
yeah. But final thoughts on this one.
I thought the Broncos played well. I thought at the end of the day, BYU made a few more plays than we did. And literally made some plays.
Yeah.
I mean, big time plays.
Yeah.
I thought, both teams made some explosive plays, but BYU's explosive plays, I think, resulted in points.
Yeah.
And some of ours didn't. And
but it was a non-conference game. I mean, all's not lost.
No, it's not. But I'm kind of looking at the positive here.
Yeah.
Like the stop before half, that was huge. And really 2 stops before half on defense.
Yeah.
Stopped them, got the ball back,
Yep.
turned the ball
Had
over,
the pick.
got the ball back.
Yep.
Stopped them. Because that game could have gone downhill in a hurry.
Oh, definitely,
and
yeah.
it didn't. And so I think the Broncos are climbing. Man, some of those throws Talon made.
Yeah.
I thought, he's got a laser for an arm, and to see the touch throws,
he was dropping some of those in, which looked like picks, and he just knew how to perfectly drop it in there.
And we'll get to that point where he's doing that
Yep.
and running the ball.
Yep.
And, because at some point defenses can't take it all away.
Yeah.
So I think the future is bright.
Yeah.
I think we have a tremendous chance to win the Mountain West Conference Championship, get into a bowl game, win the bowl game, and those have always been the Boise State goals.
Yeah.
Control what you can control. And tonight it didn't work out, which is disappointing. But I'm excited to see where this thing goes.
Yeah.
And sorry.
That's all right. Reese Odiamba walking by.
Yep.
Former left tackle NFL player.
He's awesome.
I'm sure. Hope John Schneider was up there taking care of him. Yeah.
But
overall, all's not lost, and it is what it is, and you move on and you try to win the last 3 and host the championship game.
Hey, look, I get it. We all want to go 12-0 every year.
Yep.
But sometimes you run into somebody else had a good night.
Yep. Well, again, the final 31-28. We'll get Andy Avalos, the players, up on our YouTube channel so you can watch those interviews. And, again, congrats to Danny for winning the bike. We appreciate everybody for checking us out. Thanks, Lithia, Ford of Boise, ICCU, Row Paint, all of our great sponsors at Bronco Nation News. We appreciate them. Kent, appreciate you for stepping away from your friends and family to join us here. And obviously appreciate all the comments and everybody that jumped in and commented on this one. So we'll get recaps, videos, all that stuff up on BroncoNationNews.com later tonight. So make sure you check the site. And we'll do it, I guess, with Kent after the Utah State game on Black Friday. A couple of road games in there mixed up. We got the first basketball game on Wednesday. They're starting the regular season on Wednesday with South Dakota State. So we'll have the pre- and post-game show for that. So a lot going on with Bronco Nation News.
Never know. Might show up at a road game.
There you go. If we can make that happen in Reno, maybe we can make that happen. We'll have to see. Maybe we'll keep you out of the casinos late in Reno on Saturday night and have you join us or something.
Oh, no, I'd rather be there.
Well, we'll figure it out. Maybe we'll give you a little stipend for coming on the show to take to the blackjack table. But appreciate everybody for checking us out. Again, thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to everybody. And check BroncoNationNews.com later for more on the game. Again, 31-28. John Mallory and I, Monday morning, will break it down 9 a.m. On Bronco Nation News social media channel. So make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. Appreciate you guys for checking us out tonight and for the comments, and we'll talk to you later. Bronco Nation News, BroncoNationNews.com.